Hey, how you guys doing today? Good? Good. I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Chernobyl accident. This accident involved cover-ups and all types of stuff that happened during the accident, and we're going to get into it. All right, so this is the town Pripyat. The power plant was built in Pripyat. The town was only lasted 16 years until the explosion happened. This is Vladimir I. Lenin. He is the person who created Russian Revolution. This is the 3D blueprints of the RBMK 1000 nuclear reactor. This reactor was built in the 1900s. If you look on the bottom, the 4 pumps on each side, there's 8 water pumps total. It's a whole water cycle that goes through the plant. It goes through the bottom of the reactor, up into the steam chambers, and all that water that's still in the steam chambers comes down, cools down, go back into the pumps, and it pumps water through the core over and over and over again. And if we don't have water, that causes a nuclear meltdown, and we don't like having those. This is the 2D blueprints. Right here is the turbine hall, and that's the reactor hall. That big crane thing you see up there is how they reload the fuel in the core. This is what the inside of the control room looks like. If you guys never seen inside of a nuclear reactor control room, this is what it looks like. Fun fact about uranium-235. That was the fuel that was used in the reactor. The RBMK reactors, they use uranium-235, and it's really enriched, so it's like very high levels, and it's full of gamma rays. But in a nuclear reactor, there's a boron control rod, fuel rod channels, and graphite, and water. That's what the main stuff is in a nuclear reactor. All those little cubes are uranium-235. All the rods that the cubes go into are the fuel rod channels, and then there's water that goes around it that cools down the fuel, and then the boron control rod is like a gas or a brake to a car. It slows down reactivity. They will never know the actual human cost of Chernobyl. Most estimates from 4,000 from that year, and then from going on, it got to 93,000 from years going on. Over 600,000 people were conscripted to serve in the exclusion zone. The exclusion zone was everything around the plant, the forest, the turnover, the ground, because all that radiation got sucked into the trees and the grass and stuff like that. And despite widespread amounts of sickness and death as a result of radiation, the Soviet Union permanently kept no official records of their fate. And that's one cover-up, too. All right, this is the first 2 days after the explosion. It took 2 days for all that radiation to get from Chernobyl all the way to Sweden, and to get to their nuclear power plant in Sweden, for Sweden to call call Ukraine and talk to them about that radiation levels, and that's a byproduct of their fuel. Valery Kondomchuk's body was never recovered. He is permanently entombed under Reactor 4. He was one of the people that were working in the reactor hall that night. Can I have a group of 3 people to come up here for this demonstration? All right, so this is our demonstration about alpha, beta, and gamma rays. Gamma rays is one of the most poisonous radiation you can have, and it can kill you in a matter of seconds. So I will show how bad it is. So I need you guys to face me, but in a line. All right, so this demonstration is going to be, Gio's going to be like skin, Ricky's going to be like aluminum, and Justice is going to be like a lead. So when you think of alpha rays, you think of radiation, it goes through everything. It's not that bad when it comes to alpha rays. This is radiation here. It only stops, this is alpha ray, it only stops at the skin. It doesn't go through the skin. And then if you're thinking of beta rays will go through the skin, but it can be stopped by aluminum. And then when it comes to gamma rays, it can go through aluminum and hit lead, and some thickness of lead, it will stop. But if it's like a very, very thin shield of lead, then it won't stop. Thank you guys. You guys can go sit back down. This is what the plant looks like today. If you look at the top of the nuclear reactor, when the first thermal explosion, that was the first explosion, it was a thermal explosion from steam and heat. That first explosion flipped the 10-ton top off the reactor, and it flipped it like a coin, and it landed sideways in the core, and it's like that till this day. And if you look right there, there is a human body, and that's like the one. It's a smaller size, but that's what it looks like when you stand on top of that. Approximately 300,000 people were displaced from their homes. They were told this was temporary. It was forbidden. It still is forbidden to return. The plant is the Vladimir I. Lenin Nuclear Power Station. Mikhail Gorbachev, in 2006, he wrote, "The nuclear meltdown at Chernobyl was perhaps the true cause of the collapse of the Soviet Union." This is what the old safe confinement looks like when it was built. I think it was built 7 years after the explosion. Viktor Burganov, Anatoly Dyatlov, and Nikolai Fomin were sentenced to 10 years in hard labor. Anatoly Dyatlov was the one who forced the safety test to happen, even though it was not safe. This is what some of the abandoned town looks like. Some of the trees are overgrown, some of the stuff is not overgrown, and some of the stuff is even dead. Here's some more pictures of the town that has been overgrown by trees, bushes, and stuff like that. This is the abandoned carnival. It was only open for one day, April 25th, and April 26th is when the explosion happened. So at 1 in the morning, the explosion happened, so it was only open for one day. This is the famous Ferris wheel. This is some of the red forest. Fun fact about the red forest: for the first 2 hours of the explosion, after the explosion happened, those gamma rays I was talking about, those are so bad that when it crossed over the forest, that it killed so many trees, and when it hit the city, it was really bad. This is some more of dead trees from those gamma rays and some more of the abandoned town. This is one of the sad things that I found, and of the people who were watching from the railroad bridge, it has been reported that none of them survived. It is known as the Bridge of Death. This is what the new safe confinement looks like today. This safe confinement was built in 2017, and supposedly is supposed to last 100 years. For the following the explosion, there was a dramatic spike in cancer rates across Ukraine and Belarus. The highest rates were increased among children. Thank you all.